Hey everyone, welcome back to our weekly series of Talking Experts. It is Monday, and that means we are bringing back Greg Dickerson to the show. How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing good. I'm got a bit of a cold, but it is not coronavirus, so no worries there.
Well, that's okay. I don't think I could catch it through a microphone in a Zoom call. So feel better
You
though.
never know, man. This thing's pretty nifty.
Yeah, it seems to be highly contagious, very sticky. That I
Yeah,
think we've
it's
got.
agile. It might creep through there.
Yeah. Well, I'll go get my mask. I'll be right back.
There you go.
There you go. Well, let's not talk about that. That's a topic for another day. I thought what we would talk about is, how to find deals. Right?
Yeah,
We've talked about in the past that we're at the top, maybe rolling over, but finding deals in any market is a skill. It needs to be worked on. It's not like you only execute deals at the bottom, right? Neither one of us is smart enough to figure out when that is. And I know we've done deals throughout various markets. So, what do you think about talking about finding deals?
yeah. I think it's a great topic. I've seen you talk a little bit about that with what you're doing at the hub. You're
Mhm.
trying to create opportunities, get deals, deal flow coming in. And that's no matter what business you're in, no matter what asset you invest in,
Yeah.
what type of property, finding the deals is the key.
Mhm.
And here's the thing. So there are deals in every market, no matter whether it's going up or down. There are always deals to be made if you have multiple exit strategies, if you have multiple acquisition strategies, if you're a transaction engineer, no matter what type of property you're working on, there's always going to be deals in every market. And here's the other thing too. I don't care what market you're in, anywhere in the country, almost anywhere in the world, deals are getting done every day. So
Mm.
in your market, in my market, whoever's living in your market, I guarantee you there's investors doing deals and making money. So you
Yeah.
just got to figure out if that's not you, why is that not you?
Yeah, there's absolutely no question that deals get done all the time. And not more importantly, I want to say this. I think great deals
Yeah.
are getting done, right? It's not
Yep.
just that the idiots are out there buying high like I talk about all the time. There are absolutely great deals going on. I know there's an investor out in Fresno. His name's Jason Pritchard. I think he is one of the best investors in Fresno, and he schools me all the time. He is finding deals all the time. He's putting them out there, and more importantly, I know the young man and I know his business, so it's not fluff. He is doing awesome deals. So, yes,
Yeah.
I fully agree that great deals, even if we're at the top of the market, can get done in every market. And
Great
shout,
deals is the key. Yeah, because there's a difference between deals and making money and
yeah,
transactions, right? So you can do a million transactions and
yeah,
not make any money. In fact, you can lose money. So
yeah,
I like
exactly.
the fact that you qualified it with good deals,
Hmm.
and also what's important, over everything is tracking your marketing, tracking, what you're doing to get those deals, so you know what your cost per deal is, not your
Yeah,
cost per lead, not your cost per acquisition. What is your cost per deal? At the end of the day, you made X on that deal
yeah.
at exit, or if you're keeping it. So you want to know what your cost per deal is, and what your overall cost of your acquisition program is to your net profit that you're making.
Oh, I think that is awesome. And again, cost per deal, I like that metric. I honestly have never used it. It is
Yeah,
certainly something that I have to bring to bear now that the hub is up and running. And, for the first time ever, I'm spending real marketing dollars.
yeah,
So it's going to be fun to hear how the expert like yourself, Greg, is doing this. So, uh,
yeah.
how are you finding deals? Yeah, let's talk about today. How are you finding deals today? What are some things you're doing? Does it change as the market goes from cold to hot? All that good stuff.
No, no. Finding the method of finding deals, that doesn't change.
Okay.
The maybe the strategy that you're using to buy and to sell changes, but not
Mm.
finding them. It's always the same. So if you're in the residential world, even in small multifamily commercial, it's all about marketing directly to motivated sellers. Everything starts with a motivated seller.
Yeah.
That deal is going to come through the pipeline two ways. It's either going to be direct from the seller, or it's going to be through a broker. So that's really the two ways. And I'll give you the secret silver bullet that, the one thing you need to know, and you're only going to hear it here on
Ah.
One Rental at a Time. This is how you find the best deals on the MLS now. So, there are deals found on the MLS. A lot of people don't think so, but what I do is I've got a system I've used for years. So this is for houses, for small multifamilies. You target vacant properties that have been on the market for longer than average days by at least a month. So if
Okay.
the average days on market in your area is 30 days, you go 60 to 90 days out, they're vacant, they've had price reductions. You evaluate that property and you go in and just make an offer where you need to be.
Yeah.
And you don't do it obnoxiously, you don't do anything like that. But you just go in and say, hey, I'm an investor. I buy and hold, or I buy and flip.
Hmm.
Here's where I need to be as an investor. So you present that offer where you need to be, and they'll either take it or they won't, or they might want to negotiate.
Yeah.
So, it's really that simple. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, you say, hey, I'll follow up with you in, 30 days and we'll see where you're at. So
Yeah.
I follow those properties. Sometimes, it's 6 months down the road when the owner's sick of having it out there and sick of hearing how bad the property is and all that. And I don't beat anybody up.
Right.
The agents know, the owners know. I just say, as an investor, here's where I need to be. As a developer, here's what I can pay. So I put it that way. I don't try to beat them down and do the whole thing where you make this list and show them the
Yeah.
list and all that. They get it. They understand.
Yeah.
Everybody I've ever talked to, when I say I'm a builder, developer, investor, I need to make a profit for the risk I'm taking. They
Yeah.
get it. They
Yeah.
understand. And they're trying to sell for as much as they can. And I understand that. So that's the MLS strategy that I use. That's a big one that everybody can go out right now today and you'll find a deal in your market. If you make an offer on every vacant house that's listed, that's been on the market longer than the average days, and has had at least one price reduction, I guarantee you're going to find a deal somewhere in there at your price point that's going to make sense. So that's one MLS strategy. The other is obviously expired listings,
Hmm.
that kind of thing. You want to go after houses, especially ones that have been listed a couple of times and still haven't sold. So, or multifamily properties, you can go after those, so that's another way. Then you have your tired landlords. You can look on Craigslist, Zillow, the places where they advertise properties for rent, and call up the landlords that, have properties for rent. You never know. They might be wanting to sell that property, or they may have something else. When I talk to anybody, one of the last things I ask is, do you have any other property you
Yeah.
want to sell? Or do you know anybody else that has any property that they want to sell? So a lot of times landlords may not be selling that property, but they might have 2 or 3 others that they want to sell. So
Yeah.
tired landlords. Evictions court is a good one following that list.
Yeah.
For evictions, people get tired of dealing with that and maybe want to sell the property or have another one that they want to sell. And then, of course, the number one best list is, where property to go after motivated sellers are estate properties.
Yep.
People probate, estate, whatever you want to call them, figuring out a system in your area to be in front of every single property that's going to get sold that's due to an estate. That's another good avenue as well. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to, no matter what type of property, you got to have a motivated seller.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I loved your, here's the MLS trick. It absolutely is. Vacant houses, they're risks to sellers, right?
Yeah.
The longer they're vacant, whether it's right or wrong, they get a stigma, right? If your days on market is 17 and this one's 37, people won't even look at it. Oh, there must be something wrong. I won't even go see it, right?
Yeah.
They get this
And you
stigma.
got maintenance costs. So
Yeah.
they're hard to insure. There's a risk depending on the area they're in of being vacant. You might get squatters. I mean, there's all kinds of things. So, vacant is a big motivator. And if you can find a way to track all the vacant properties in your market that aren't on the MLS, that's just an MLS strategy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons that are vacant that aren't on the MLS. So if you
For
can find
sure.
a way to tackle that, literally, who knows whose houses are vacant? The mailman, the post office. So
Yeah.
go build a relationship with the postal workers that are running routes in the areas that you like. Give them a gift certificate somewhere and say, hey, here's my number. Would you let me know if you see a vacant house?
Yeah.
That's been vacant for at least a month. You
Right.
don't want something people coming and going, but something that's been vacant for a while, they can do that.
Absolutely.
So that's just a matter of networking with postal workers and, getting them to notify you when something's vacant. Flipping that to the commercial side, for commercial and multifamily, it's going to be more about the brokers. Now, you can target owners directly, and you can use direct mail, but it needs to be a professional letter written on professional letterhead with your company logo information. You got to look like a pro, like an investment firm. But at the end of the day, those owners are getting hit by everybody. They're getting mailers from everybody. They're getting calls from brokers. The best way to do it is to call first. Don't just show up. Don't just show up at the office. Like a lot of people say, hey, you don't want to do that because that'll irritate people. People are busy. Call them first and set an appointment before you show up. Build rapport and use a simple script. Hey, my name is Greg Dickerson. I'm an investor. I'm looking for multifamily properties in the Fresno area. Would you be interested in selling your property? And they know they own a multifamily property. So then, just start it out real simple. Hey, I'm an investor. I'm looking for multifamily properties in Fresno. Would you be interested in selling your property? It's either going to be a yes or a no.
Yeah.
If it's a no, do you think at any point in time you might be interested in selling? I'd love to be able to follow up with you and continue the conversation. Or do you have any other properties that you'd like to sell? So
Yeah.
you just kind of continue down that road. Then if it's a yes, you go down that road and you start asking them about the property and themselves, and things like that. And, build that rapport, get to know them.
Yeah.
If it's brokers, a lot of people say, man, I'm not getting any attention from brokers, especially at the higher level and you're new. Let's
Mm.
say you're a syndicator and you're trying to raise capital or you're trying to find deals or whatever it is. And, you can't get any headway with brokers. So the conversation's the same with brokers. You call up and you just be honest with them. And you say, hey, this is Greg. I'm an investor. I'm new to the game. I'm trying to learn everything I can. I'd love to get on your list. And
Hmm.
if you have a few minutes, I'll be glad to buy you lunch, just to kind of learn what you're working on, what the market looks like, things like that. Just be honest with people. Don't
Yeah.
don't call up and try to, act like you know something when you don't. Just be honest with the brokers. And at the end of the day, if you are sophisticated, if you're an experienced investor, brokers want to deal with people they know are going to close, that are not a headache, that are easy to work with, that just you have an LOI, you agree on the price quickly, you start moving through due diligence. If there's major items, you might retrade that deal if it's something major. If it's little stuff, you don't even worry about it, you just close.
Yeah.
That's who the brokers are calling first. Residential, commercial, whatever it is,
Yeah.
you want to be known as the investor that's easy to work with, that will close, that will do what you say you're going to do, and is not high maintenance headaches, losing your stuff, and understands things happen in transactions,
Yeah.
and that everybody is there to get the deal done, get closed, because that's how they get paid. So if you approach brokers from that standpoint, just be honest with them wherever you're at. Tell
Yeah.
them I'm
Yeah.
either a beginner or, hey man, we close 50 deals a month, whatever it is. Let them know, and then hey, can I get on your list? Brokers are busy. They're
Yeah.
trying to get, they're talking to the owners, they're talking to investors, they get a lot of phone calls. So that's how you approach brokers and get deal flow from them.
Yeah, the other thing that you've mentioned now twice that I just wanted to go back to, and it actually it led to what I call the deal of the year, right? I believe, there's always there's people call it the deal of a lifetime. I actually believe in real estate, the deal of the lifetime comes around at least once a year. And
Right.
where I'm going with this conversation is um, the ability to talk to an owner and really share with them what you're looking for, what you're looking to do, even if they're not willing to sell today, right?
Right.
One of the conversations I had, it literally was 2 years ago, that led to the best deal last year, was talking to an owner that was looking to sell a little junky house. It was like a little 1 bedroom, 1 bath built in the 1920s. It was like 600 square feet. And he wanted to get rid of it because he had problems with the tenants. I'm like, great, I'll take it on. We agreed a price point, real lickety split. And I told him, hey, it looks like you own a bunch of things, and you're getting up there. You're getting to be a frustrated landlord, like we all talk about. Have you ever thought about owner financing? Right. And through that conversation, he had no interest, right? He owned his stuff free and clear. He was ready to get out. And I'm like, well, you really should talk to your accountant, because you're going to get a huge tax hit. You depreciate all these things to zero, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, rah, 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 doesn't talk to me. Uh, he does his taxes. He calls me back like a month after and he goes, wow, I had no idea. I'm looking to sell the rest of my stuff and travel. Would you be willing to do one of those owner finance deals on everything else I own? I'm like, yeah, we agree on a price and terms and all of that. Let's go. So again, you have to be willing to talk today for future return. Too many people are like, hey, you got something to sell? Nope. Great. On to the next one. You got something to sell? Nope. On to the next one. Right.
Yeah.
Realize it's not only who you know, but who knows you. So spend the
Right.
time, build the bridges, build the relationships, and it will return to you in the future, whether that's with sellers or brokers, right?
Yep.
It's not always about doing something today, I guess is my point.
Yeah, opportunity knocks every day,
Yes.
and deals of the lifetime come along every day, right? So it's just a matter of follow up and follow through. And you hear people say, well, "What does that mean? What does that look
Yeah.
like?" So that conversation, you talk to a seller that has multiple properties, you keep them in your database and you follow up with them,
Yep.
whether they sell that day or not. If they have other properties or they know other people that do,
Mhm.
keep them on your list and stay in touch with them, follow up with them, and follow up in a meaningful way. So
Yes.
what that means is, don't just put them on some blind list, that you just send this, arbitrary thing out to, hey, you still interested in, selling or what, call them up, just take a minute, call them up. Hey, this is Greg checking in, see how you're doing. Hope everything's going well. Tell me about your kids, tell me about your family,
Yeah.
tell me about the properties, whatever. Just talk to them. Like you said, build that relationship and that rapport. Same thing with brokers. Don't follow up with a broker every time saying, hey, what do you got? What's new? What's going on? Follow up with them and say, hey man, how's the kids? How's the family? How's
Yeah.
the business? How you doing? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Some brokers want to engage in that, some don't. Learn your audience, learn your sellers. Some people want to talk and get personal, some don't. But everybody likes to help people almost. and they like to share their wisdom and their experience and how they got where they are. So if you approach it from, I'm a seeker of wisdom, I want to be where you are, I want to learn from you. How did you get this property to begin with? People love telling you those stories.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And again, it's funny. What, you talked about earlier about what I'm doing out at the hub in Fresno. I really created that out of looking to the future about who knows me, right? That's what I'm trying to create, right? Yes, you could
Yeah.
do mailers, you can do cold calling, you do, RVMs, ringless voicemails, all these other things. Those are all technology based and at the whims of legislation. I'm like, you know what? How can I plant a flag and be around for 50 years, right? So
Yeah.
we've already attracted and filled up the office with wholesalers, contractors, agents, all these things. Now I'm looking to increase people coming to the building, other agents and firms and all of that. But it's all to try to build a buzz. And what's going to happen is I'm doing this from a service mindset first. So I'm like, okay, great. What would happen if we did, every Saturday we did some kind of event, right? Maybe Saturday is first time buyers. Maybe the next one is, hey, if you're in, pre-foreclosure, how can we help? Right? If you're doing multifamily, how you do an LOI or underwrite a deal, right? There's just all these things you could do to help. And it's all going to be kind of attracting, and all the marketing that people that are in the office, wholesalers, are using the hub as an anchor because it's in a great part of town. It's a great, it's a fully remodeled building. So I'd love to
Yep.
hear what you think about that. How would you use it, right? Your office is your car, but let's just, pretend like, you're going to have a building for your school coming, right? How would you use that as a touchstone for the neighborhood in the area? How would you use something like the hub?
Yeah. So, I've had an office my whole career until the last few years. And, right now I've been just roaming up and down the Southeast coast here doing stuff. So a little bit more mobile as I get older. You could call it semi-retired, but, ain't slowing down.
You're not semi-retired, you liar.
But, I'm still rolling, but I
Yeah.
am the hub. I
Yeah.
mean, I am the hub. So I
For
am
sure.
my brand. I've developed relationships over the last 24, 25 years
Yeah.
that people reach out to me. I don't even
Right.
have to. I get every day. Almost every day somebody's reaching out to me with some sort of a deal, opportunity. It could be a business, a company, real
Yeah.
estate. It could be anything.
Yeah.
So that's number one. So in your area, in your community, like you said, so it starts with service. There's a buzzword out there, add value, right? How can you
Right.
add value to somebody? Well, I look at it like you just said. How can I service somebody? How can I be of service to somebody? Selling is serving, networking is serving. Seek to
Yeah.
serve first, seek to understand others, seek to identify a need that you can fill, and then the opportunity will follow. So, how can I help you? How can I serve you? How can I help the community serve the community? So if you become a resource where everybody in that community knows this is what you need to do for the hub. So
Yeah.
every single agent in your market, every single mortgage broker in your market and lender, every single home inspector, every single property management company, every single bank, everybody that's in the world of real estate in your community should know everything that you have of service that you offer to them and to their investors and their clients in your area. They need to know that you're the go-to guy. You need a painter, you need a roofer, you need a loan, you need insurance, you need a title company, you need a lawyer, you need, a listing agent, you need cash, a cash buyer, commercial, multifamily, whatever it is. Everybody needs to know that that's what the hub is, and they can walk in your door anytime, and you will help them with whatever that is. A stager, a furnishing company, any and everything that has to do with anything real estate.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need to be. You need to be that resource, and you need to stay as busy and noisy as it is, top of mind to everybody in your market to know that all they got to do is come to the hub.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, so to me, that's what the hub represents. I know a lot of people have been trying to, your sign this and that. And they're trying to say, I don't really know what it is. That's what you have to convey. Is you have to convey you are the resource to Fresno. Now here's your tagline right here: the place to go for real estate in Fresno. Anything real estate, the place to go for anything real estate in Fresno. Doesn't matter what it is. That's what the hub is.
You got it.
You are the place to go. So when somebody lands in Fresno and they've never been there, where do I go for? I need a painter. I got to find a place to rent. I need attorney. I need a whatever, the hub. That's where you find it.
I'm taking that. I'm going to make sure that's on our tagline. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's
the place
awesome.
to go.
The place to go. I like it. Check us out, Van
'Cause that's
Essen
what everybody
McKinley.
asks, right? Where do
Yeah.
I go for great seafood? Where do I go for furniture? Where do I go for, to get a contractor?
Yeah.
Especially contractors. And if you vet and qualify to where you can say, my list are people that have gone through a vetting process that I vet for you. So you don't need to worry about, are they insured? You don't need to worry about how long they've been in business. You don't need to worry about, are they well capitalized? If
Yep.
they're a service provider,
Hmm.
almost like Angie's List or something like that. But you are a trusted resource in the community, and you've pre-vetted your vendors and suppliers, mortgage agents, this, that, and the other, and you have a select list. You don't have everybody. You've got,
Right.
this is my list. This is when
Yep.
I need something done, this is who I call.
Yeah.
That's
My
what you want
list.
to be. That's what the hub is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to probably use that as well. Right. This is my list, my trusted list, whatever. Because yeah, I don't
Now
want
the
to put
other thing you
everybody.
can do,
Go ahead. Yep.
if you're trying to build rapport with agents, the other thing you can do is have somebody on your team that is dedicated to helping them when they need an estimate, or investors when they need an estimate for repairs, flipping a house, something like that. That's a hard thing for investors and for agents to find, is somebody who can visit a property or look at it and give them 5 minutes,
Mm,
to tell them what things are going to cost.
yeah.
So, if you can help from an investor standpoint, if you can help with that, helping them consolidate their prices of different things in that area, that's huge.
Yeah. I like that. That's another thing we'll do. Okay.
Yeah.
See, free consulting. I get tons of value out of my weekly calls. I like it. Thank you, Greg.
Uh, no, I'm going to send you a bill when we're done.
As long as it comes through the same microphone, we're good. That's funny. So again, let's actually, because you've been doing this for so long, and let's just remind folks. So
Yeah.
what happens at the bottom of a market, right? We're not there today. But does anything that you kind of just went through change if we're at the bottom of a market versus the top?
No, it stays the same. The only
Yeah.
difference is how much you can pay, right? Because again, the price you pay is permanent. Everything else is temporary. The financing, the
Yeah.
strategy, all that, that's a temporary thing. What you pay is what you pay. So you just need to be leading the market in
Yes.
each direction, okay? So when the market, and again, it's more important to know the top than the bottom. So right now we're at a peak everywhere, every type of property.
Yeah.
You need to be sensitive, because that's easy to spot. The peak is easy to spot. For
Mm.
sale signs start, propping up everywhere. All of a sudden, there's more inventory. Days on markets increase.
Mhm.
Your phone stops ringing. All these things start happening when you're at a peak and the market changes or shifts. When I say your phone stops ringing, let's say you're a contractor and
Mm.
all this work's coming in, you get 20 phone calls a day. Well, all of a sudden, your phone stops ringing. There's a reason.
Yeah.
So you got to dig into that. So something in your world is changing. You need to dig into that. So pay attention to for sale signs. Interest rates, again, get ready
Yeah.
to drop. So I think the real estate market's going to stay robust for a while. The stock market's kind of a caveat, but I think that's kind of an artificial thing. It's all games, right?
Yeah.
So that's not real. That's not a real indicator of what's happening.
Yeah.
That's just speculation.
Mhm.
It's just electronic trading and speculation.
Yeah.
And if it gets cut in half, it'll come back up again. So that'll be an easy bottom to pick, right? But in real estate, it's more important. The top's more important, not the bottom, because if you keep track of what's going on, if you know your values, if you know your market, you'll know when days on market's increasing. You'll know when for sale signs and inventory increases,
Mhm.
and you'll know when sales and closing slow down. So then you just start chasing the market down or leading the market down. So if a property sold for 100,000 or 200,000 yesterday, you want to be in it for 175
Yep.
today,
Yeah.
so you just kind of keep working it down. Same thing on the way up and in reverse. Okay. You don't want to be outbidding, and you want to
Mm.
be leading the market on the way up, but
Mhm.
you want to be below where it's at the peak, and still kind of be there as it continues to increase, and you can chase that market up. So
Yeah.
same strategies, same opportunities, maybe a different buying strategy, maybe a different exit strategy,
Yeah.
depending on values.
Yeah. I love, this is one of the reasons I love real estate investing. So once you invest in knowing the basics, i.e., in this case, finding a deal we're talking about, it
Yeah.
doesn't really change based on market cycles, right? I talk to my students all the time who are busy professionals trying to get their first or second rental home. I'm like, you have to learn how to learn your market, right? Every market produces some kind of average return, and your job is to understand average and then only do good or great deals. Yeah,
Yeah.
99% of the stuff out there is not good or great. Go find the good or great. Don't just walk up to the craps table or roulette wheel and pick a number. That's not what you got to do. And the reason I bring this
Well,
up is similar is because whether you're at the top or the bottom, you still have to learn your market. Every market produces a return, and it's so fun to hear you say that. So I appreciate that.
yeah. Now here's another one that's very controversial that'll people be like, "What?
Yeah.
You can pay anything for a property. You can overpay for a property if you're long term and you're buying for cash flow. As long as it
Hmm.
generates the cash flow and the return you're looking for, you can pay anything for a
Yeah.
property. You don't have to get it undervalued.
Hmm.
You don't have to get it at a discount. You can pay above market, above asking if it cash flows and if it satisfies your return requirements.
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up. I negotiated an owner finance deal Friday. I talked about it Saturday, where I overpaid by 20 grand.
Hmm.
I overpaid by 20 grand and I have to pay the wholesaler 5 grand on top of that. So really I overpaid by 25 grand. The reason
Yeah,
is that I got my terms. I basically got a
yeah,
1% loan, which made sure the building will cash flow a couple $100. So from my perspective, in my market, an average return is like 6.5. I got a 12% return on my money because I structured the debt by overpaying. To your
yeah.
exact point, it's funny how this all ties together.
It does. So motivated seller means a number of things. Like when
Yes.
I say motivated seller, people usually think desperate. They got to get out today and they need cash. Motivated seller can mean they're motivated to not pay taxes, like you said.
Yeah.
So maybe a long-term zero interest owner
Yeah.
finance deal
I've done
makes
those.
sense. Payments still paid. Yeah, I've done those my whole career. People like zero interest. I'm like, yeah, somebody wants $500,000 for their property and the market value is 450. So hey, I'll give you 500,000
Yeah.
if you let me pay you $10,000, a year for 50 years or
Yep.
whatever it is,
Whatever it is. Yeah.
$24,000 a year for 20 years,
Yeah.
whatever you can negotiate
Awesome.
that works for you and works for the seller, then it keeps it simple. You don't need an amortization schedule. You're just
Hmm.
making payments.
Yeah.
So those deals are done all day long. So motivated seller means they want to sell, but they don't necessarily have to sell, at zero. And it doesn't mean you have to buy, well below market value. Now, if you're flipping, yeah, obviously you've
Yeah.
got to buy below market so you can sell it and, you can add the value there. But if you're wholesaling and if you're long term, if
Yeah.
you're a wholesaler, you need buyers like Michael that can be creative and can buy at different price points if you're
Absolutely.
wholesaling. Like you just said, you paid the wholesaler how much?
5 grand.
5 grand. So every wholesaler out there that's listening, you need a buyer's list of different types of buyers. You need your cash flippers, you
Hmm.
need your long-term holds, you need your subject twos, your lease option guys.
Yeah.
You need to have different buyers tagged different ways and go hunting, for the deals that they're looking for. That's how you make money in any market. That's what I mean by being a transaction engineer. So when you're talking
Yeah.
to that seller, if they want a cash today price, I can do that. If you want retail market value and you're patient, well, either rent to own a finance, or we just list it for you because we have
Yeah.
an agent resource for you.
Exactly.
So multiple exits.
Very, very cool. Yeah. And again, it's funny that you bring that up, right? It's nice to have buyers lists of people that will do lots of things, right? Because a flipper would never do this deal, right? You got to get it for 7% ARV minus repair costs, blah, blah, blah. I'm in there going, you know what?
Right.
The ARV is 165 for this house all day long, but I'll pay 185. The owner wants 185. They got an ego stroke around 85. Great. I only get paid $600 a month and I want it for 30 years, no. Oh, by the way, no down payment. I'm only going to pay closing costs. So I can structure a deal. If you know a price and a monthly payment, right? We can work it out. So
Right. Yeah.
very,
Excuse
very
me. This
cool.
cold is killing me.
Yeah. No worries, man.
The most I've talked since I've had this cold.
Uh, well, this has been a great phone call. You struggled through. I appreciate you. Feel better. And
Yeah. Thank you.
I look forward to our conversation next week.
And I'll keep you updated. If it does turn out to be coronavirus, then all
I'll
bets
get
are off.
tested.